Okay, this video is going to be about how to properly clean and maintain your levels. All right. So these are the pretty standard levels that we have in my shop. These are cricks. We have a 2-footer and a 4-footer. And as you can see, it's gotten to the point where it's very difficult to see your bubbles. There's some mortar all over the face of the level here. This will actually dry out the wood. Drying out the wood will eventually lead to cracking and the deterioration of your level. So it's important to, every so often, probably like every 4 months or after a job, give it a nice cleaning so that it stays in good shape for long periods of time. All right, so in order to do this, we just need some simple things. I have a sanding block here, okay, a rag, a piece of razor blade that I actually split in half, and this right here, right in there, that is called raw boiled linseed oil. This is the oil that we'll use to like moisten and soften up the wood for the levels. I also brought this over here because we have a bunch of rags in the shop, and as you can see, this is the rag that I initially grabbed. This is the rag I'll be using. I just broke off a piece from this rag. You don't need to waste an entire rag just for a little bit of oil to oil up the level. All right, so the first thing you would need to do is you go over your level and you actually have to scrape off all the mortar that's on the glass, okay? Like so. It comes off easier than this, but I'm doing it one-handed because I have the phone in my hand. But one of the super important things to do in this is that you hold the razor blade at an angle to scrape off mortar. Some of the things I see kids doing is this. This will scratch up your glass and kind of just move you backwards. So again, you won't be able to see the vowels in there to be able to level and plumb your work. So you go to all 3 pieces of glass on each side. So you do the other side next. And again, you just scrape off all the mortar that's on there so you can clearly see right through it. Your next step would be to grab the sanding block, okay? And you don't need to go crazy here. Just a light sanding with the block. Even that right there is plenty good enough to do what we need to do for our next step. And again, I'm only doing it with one hand, so usually you got to kind of brace the level. But you'd want to get all this off there. It's important that you do not touch the glass with this, which it's easy to avoid because these are reset in. Again, if you hit the glass with this, you're going to scratch up the glass, and eventually you'll get to a point where you can't see inside there, and that doesn't do you any good. All right, your next step would be put some oil on your rag. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. Now, again, this is such a tiny piece of rag because in reality, you don't need very much. Actually, I'd even say easily I overdid it there. Okay, that's way too much. This is probably enough right here to do both levels. A little bit would go a long way, but I'm just going to show you right here. I'm going to apply this to the level, and what this does is it keeps the wood from drying out, which is extremely important. Keeps the level from cracking and misshaping, okay? That's kind of overdoing it, but what I would do is I would spread all that out all over this level and this one here, okay? This does tend to stink a little bit, so the best thing to do is to do it at the end of the day. It's a little tacky too, so you want to let it sit in your locker and dry up. That way it's not so bad the next day. All right, and then the most important step for all this is that these rags, this boiled linseed oil, is a flammable material. If you just simply take this rag and place it here, okay, after it dries up, it'll actually create its own heat and can and will catch on fire. We don't want that. So what you need to do with your rags when you're done is located over here by all the brooms, all the shovels and stuff, right below it is this guy right here. This is our flammable can, so that can prevent it from happening. As you can see, if I open it up, we got a whole bunch of rags that are saturated with linseed oil that can be a fire hazard. You simply take your rag, gone, in there. Never put it in the garbage can, ever. All right, so you guys should come in and every so often maintain your levels, keep them nice and clean and new. You'll like it. You'll appreciate it more. Thanks.